our code of conduct. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove a board member or member of the public from a meeting for engaging in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene, threatening, or harassing language, slander, threats of violence, personal attacks of any kind, or offensive, inflammatory comments on the basis of ethnicity, race, age, religion, gender, sexual orientation, and/or a disability. Member or members of the public who engage in any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting while at a board meeting shall be removed from the board meeting at the discretion of the chair or a chair designee. Okay, standard procedure. Attendance. Jesus Lopez Jensen.
Present.
All right. Esme Sorcho Lau. Marcus McLaren.
Present.
Okay. Toby Buford. Tasha Andrews. Gwen Thomas Steve. And yours truly, Barbara Stromson. So we're a little short for quorum, but we could at least give you the information that we have tonight. All right. All right, as far as new business is concerned, I did get a memorandum from the Parks Department, and they are looking for bids for the operation of concessions for the sale of food from mobile food units at various parks locations. And the locations in our board are Aqueduct Walk, Park entrance at West Fordham Road and University Avenue bus stop, Aqueduct Walk at Barnhill Square, and DeVoe Park, University between West Fordham Road and Ziza Place. And Van Cortlandt Park, Broadway between 240th and 263rd. We share that area with Ford. Van Cortlandt Park, South Playground between the Lawn and Kingsbridge Green, and again, Van Cortlandt Park, Broadway between West 240th and West 242nd Street near the tennis and handball courts. All right, so that's the list. If you know of anybody interested, we have the information. They have until October 21st to apply. Welcome. Tom, we just started. Come and sign in. There's a seat here for you. Thank you, Martha. Okay, now we had hoped to have our district manager, Joe McNeary, here tonight, but we got word that he wasn't coming, but he did answer more than a few questions that we had, and if there are any problems that you would like to bring up, I certainly will make sure he gets the information. All right, move down to staffing for the fall. Right now, he has 27 staff people, and that will cover all the parks in Ward 7. We have 11, so.
Half a person.
I do notice, though, that he does have a roving crew still for cleaning. They come in the truck and they spend a few minutes at each park and move on. Right. Harris Field repairs. That's our place. They're awaiting a start date. They've had a pre-construction meeting. The problem over there is the field, and a lot of the public schools use that field for soccer. And I understand it was artificial turf that they put down a while ago, and it's in very bad shape. So at this point, they're still awaiting a contract, but they have had a meeting. So I don't know what the schools are doing Webster House down on Webster and Marshall Parkway. I understand at our June meeting, we were told that it was going to open and whatever. I don't see much activity there at all. One day I passed and there were a few park workers having lunch. But as far as seeing people in the morning come and get equipment and move on, I don't see any of that. And the sidewalk in front of it is rarely swept, so it's something I want to follow up on. I understand they're short regarding help, but and they're using the mobile work crew, but in the same vein, they spent a lot of money to fix the boiler in there and fix it up and whatever. And I remember when we first requested that, and supposedly came through, it took 10 years for this to be completed. And what happened was that they had combined it with another project in another borough, and I guess funds ran short when they did the other project, and it just sat there and it never got done. So really, if you are in favor of having something done in the park, you really have to follow up on it with them. All right. Frisch Field, I understand that there is a contract that's going to be done. Joe sent this. The scope of Frisch Field reconstruction project has been expanded to address potential subsurface conditions that could negatively impact the long-term viability of our capital works, such as a collapsed drain pipe, poor soil structure. A leaking pipe has been discovered affecting the drainage and needs to be reconstructed as well. Due to the broken DEP drain line, there is an additional scope of reconstructing the stone retaining walls that have also been added to this project. We are diligently coordinating with DEP and engineers to complete the design work by October 31st. So again, by the time it goes out to bids and whatever, it usually takes 4 to 5 years to get a capital A project done. So not too encouraging right now with the budgets, that's for sure. Okay. All right. Is there any questions anybody has about any of the parts that you would like to bring up or whatever? Anthony, I see your hand.
Right. I just want to be sure I'm going to comment in the right place on the agenda. You said it goes under new.
Yeah,
new
you
business.
have a comment about park, please.
Not a comment. As a resident, I have a concern and maybe even a proposal. Of course, as a former board member, sitting on this board for quite a long time, I know how powerful both the board and each committee can and cannot be. And when we talk about parks, and I'm talking about Marshall and Parkway as a specific example, but you can, the concern has to do with Williamsbridge Oval and many other parks, which is, I understand that the Parks Department does not have money to do a variety of things that I'm about ready to mention, right? Things like not patrolling the area on a regular basis, things like not picking up the garbage on a regular basis, right? They will talk about budget cuts, and they're actually correct. But that also means that it's going to be continued, and it's going to be continued, in my opinion, by many new residents that have moved in over the course of the last 5, 10 years that have no awareness of rules and regulations when it comes to parks, right? I'm not going to presume they know what the rules and regulations were somewhere else. I'm not going to presume that. What I know now is that they don't know it here. So what we need, or what I like to see this committee do, is education. Because I'm not going to stop pointing fingers saying you're this, therefore you don't know what you're doing. I don't know if that's true or not. What I do know is that I truly believe a lot of our new members and even some of the old ones, need a reminder of what the do's and don'ts are. There are a variety of different ways that Community Board 7, not the Parks Department, Community Board 7 can assist in this process. As before, when I sat on this board, there were many meetings with council people, assembly people, senators to do things like create signage, such as create brochures. I believe it was, I know it was a while ago, but 10, 11 years ago, when we had to do something in regards to Marshall Parkway. We had, through Councilman Oliver Coppell, have almost 10,000, and I'm sure you remember, Barbara, almost 10,000 brochures that were designed by the board. And, you know, basically it was a do or don't thing. You know, you can create a template one and then just put the name of the park on each one. You can do it that way, or just create a one-size-fits-all. But I really believe we need an education program. And I wouldn't go to the Parks Department because, of course, they have no money, right? That's what they're going to say. So, and as well as the manpower. So, a long-term, this is not a short-term comment, but more than a long-term concern and a proposal that maybe, and if you need any assistance on my end as far as brainstorming ideas, because I really think the concerns are very wide, you know, very wide. And some of them very, believe it or not, logical, but I guess to our new residents, it's not logical. So one simple example.
I agree with you, Anthony, and I think the people who come out to the meetings usually are the ones that don't dirty the parks or whatever. And I'm wondering, like, if you had a batch of these flyers or information booklets and you came up here and you handed them out as people came in or left, whether or not they would even be read, or whether, and you'd have more to clean up. I don't know how to reach a lot of these people. The ones that come to meetings are not a problem. But any suggestions of,
I'm on the sanitation committee, and that was a big topic. And the feeling was that we should explore new media, maybe, you know, put something on Instagram, try to reach the people where they are, as opposed to handing things out. This is a very early suggestion, but I think, you know, the community board really shares your concern about it.
right,
Yeah, but also, I think, Barbara, we put in for garbage cans also, which we were kind of promised.
yeah.
And I think something that simple would really remedy, at least where I am.
I know, but if you look at the problem with garbage cans, be it from the Parks Department or from sanitation, all right? The parks, I think we have maybe 2 garbage cans, long distance along Marshall Road, and their reply was people put household garbage there and we're not taking care of that. Meanwhile, sanitation, I understand, unless you get somebody who would be able to line the bag, the garbage can with a bag and pick it up, they're not going to do anything. I mean, you could walk blocks on Webster Avenue and not see a garbage can. Now, I know Marshall Preservation Corps has purchased some, and there are a few out on 2/4 and at different sites. But I mean, years ago, every couple of corners, you would see one of those wire baskets, and people would use them.
Which is why, again, I think a strong education program is needed. And to answer something you said a moment ago, on your agenda, I believe you have a section for friends groups, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to ask the president of each friend group to hand these things out, I would presume they would not say no. As a matter of fact, I would presume they'd be very happy because it would be a free resource for them to use. It wouldn't cost them anything.
Okay, what I will do is bring it up and see what we can do.
Thank you.
For
Thank you.
this spring and summer or whatever. Thank you, Anthony. All right, any other concerns in the parks? Yes.
Just to mention, Barbara, that one of the residents contacted me about the lights over, and I passed on the information to the Parks Department, and they said they were going to replace the missing lights. She said near the women's bathroom and the basketball court, so I think it's outside she's referring to, but they're working on it, just to,
They're doing what out there?
They're replacing the lights, the
Oh,
outside
they are
lights.
replacing the
Yeah.
lights.
She was complaining about safety just in the park at night.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Are you just asking about any park? or
Yes,
just-
anything within our area.
So what I've noticed about Friends of the Park,
Yeah.
and I'm even more annoyed with the corral, it appears, and I've seen it 3 times already, that maybe the Parks Department is collecting garbage from other parks and putting it there.
Oh, I see.
So now I'm triply annoyed because it's an eyesore already, but now you're bringing garbage from other places. And this morning, the garbage was stacked up this high.
Now their garbage truck is coming into the park?
It's not a garbage truck, it's one of their
Pickup trucks?
pickup trucks. And what they're doing is they're bringing the garbage there. So at this point, I would like for Community Board 7 to really send a letter to Clinton. Because Clinton manages that park, he goes in 7, 5 is responsible for it. Not 30 years. I would like for them to figure out why are you bringing more garbage to that side? And 2, what are we doing about it? Because it's still air conditioners, it's still car parts, it's still tires, it's still television, it's still smart refrigerators. In addition, it's bags and bags and bags and bags of stuff.
And you dump them in the crowd, these huge objects.
It's huge on it's bikes and bikes, I guess, that either no one wants to put in the proper space or just the battery ran out. The thing about it is an eyesore, and it's starting to be a problem for me. I don't know, I can table my neighbors and see how they feel about it. I'm not really sure if it's an issue for them. But it's an issue for me because this year, and I'm gonna stop, Parks and Recs came with their forestry department and they added trees, beautiful trees, and they're doing well. All that now is, while the trees are beautiful, when you get to that part of the park, you're like, what's that? It makes the park look horrible.
So, Elaine?
So I haven't been there in about 4 days, but there's a love seat on Marshall Walkway. I called it in already, but it's been there quite a while. It's by, maybe it was, it's still there. I have the number I can forward it to. I wanted to vote for it. It's taken, the date was I called it in.
And where exactly is it
August 25th.
between Van Cortlandt and the concourse?
It's on the west side of Marshall Parkway. It's, what is it, northwest, it's right by the school. The intersecting street is 206 and Van Cortlandt Avenue. But it's,
206
yeah.
and Van Cortlandt.
Yeah,
Oh, so it's on the north side.
Yeah, it's just like sitting there in the middle, in the grass.
They know, they just need the pickup truck to come in, they know.
They do know.
Because I
They know.
contacted Allison and showed her a picture.
Oh, okay.
So they're just waiting?
She's waiting, right, they're waiting
More
for the
lobbying.
pickup truck
Yeah, I
to
sent
come.
it.
So,
But they should have really picked it up.
Picked it up like that.
From August 25th, yeah.
so what my experience has been with those love seats and things like that oftentimes what happens is that, and I guess we need to be vigilant and watch that area if it's just standing there and nobody's there, but also what can happen is that people sometimes they use that as a drop to sell, right, because
It's a
to pick
store.
up their drugs from the spot or sit, make it seem like they sitting, chilling with friends and they pick up. So especially now since a lot of that activity is cash out and sell and all that, all you see is just somebody sitting and it doesn't, don't know that it's impossible.
Or we could get rid of it.
friends of DeVoe with the corral problem, and also the love seat on the west side, between 260 and Portland, and that's the north side of the park.
Yeah.
Okay.
Off road.
Anything else that you
Yes.
would like to bring up?
It's technically a follow-up, but since Mr. Joe's not here, I would like to ask the board again, so just to reiterate it. In the February meeting, the Oval Gardener whistleblowed that Friends of Marshallou was vandalizing the parkway via pruning the trees and shrubs, killing the birds, and possibly bringing infections and diseases to the trees. In the February meeting, there's been no follow-up since that. She came to the board, Mr. Joe was here, so he should be aware, just we've never heard anything back. And in the March, the meeting before that, I asked about the QR code in the welcome garden and who has the keys because the board doesn't have it. I found it inappropriate that there was a QR code soliciting donations when it could be used for the board's agendas or minutes or something for a public good and not a 501(c)'s benefit. I never heard a follow-up from that. Also with the Pride Flag permit on the Bronx Victory Memorial, last the board said was that the Parks Department didn't have a process to do it and that they were waiting to hear from it, but I never heard anything back. So it's the 3 follow-ups from the past 3 boards meetings. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the budget. Needless to say, the parks requests are many each year, and the condition of our parks is not the greatest. So at this point, we were asked to go through what was asked for last year, and to see if we want to keep it, or change it, or whatever, and to take a look at some of the answers we got back from parks. Just here someplace. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to just quickly go down the capital outlay. All right. Number 4 was reference to renovating the basketball courts at DeVoe Park and resurfacing the area and including fiberglass backboards. Now, was the park ever, did they get any? It looks good. Okay, they did the surfacing and
They
the
did the servicing, but I'll do markers, I'll take a picture, which I think I may have some, and I'll send some of it to you so you see. It was very,
all right, so they did, okay, so we can cross that one off?
We can cross that.
Yeah, okay, cross that. All right, number 6, there was a mention of flooding of grass areas in DeVoe and the fact that benches need repair,
and we need benches.
okay? And this answer that we get back seems to be the same for many of the capital outlay projects. Funds are insufficient, and they suggest you go to either the borough president or your city council person. Now, I have found in the past, the expense budget, where we may need manpower or equipment for parks, we usually get something. But as far as the capital outlay, renovation of projects and whatever, you must go to the council person. Okay, so I mean, that's the only way we seem to get it in the past, to go and say, we really need this, would you?
Do we know who the council person is for that part?
Yeah,
Do we know the council person, who that would be?
yeah.
Because it's 7, but it's in a different area, right?
Where is
DeVoe Park? Do we know who the council member is to contact?
That should be Perina.
Do you know his
right?
name? Perina?
Perina.
it?
Okay.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'll go down, number 7, we asked for the rehab of the 2 playgrounds at DeVoe. And same to go to the city people. Number 10, we asked that they install running and jogging areas around some of the larger parks. And the answer was more information is needed from the community board about other potential locations. The community board should specify locations. We also recommend these projects be brought to the attention of your elected officials. So maybe we should change the wording on that, and I believe it was one of the members of our committee who suggested it, but she never suggested what park, so. Do we want to change that any, or what's your feeling on that?
if we, I mean,
We would have to name a park.
we would have to name a park. We would have
Okay, this park has to track the job, so they don't need it here.
to. Right,
Marshall has a path.
right. And DeVoe Park is a natural track,
Track.
so we don't need anything. 'cause
Okay,
it's
should
all
we drop it?
playground.
What do you think? I don't know where we would put them.
Do you have a sense of how long this was?
This was just asked last year.
Just
Yeah.
I see.
I think the problem is we don't know what park
What
they're
park,
talking
right, and I
about.
can understand the answer that we have to be more specific.
And like, the bowl is kind of natural, so.
You know, so it's not needed in a bigger park.
It's not.
Okay, so we'll move on. Number 11, replace the bocce courts here at the Oval, so that the area can be used for another activity. The reply was,
Got the dog
further
park.
study by the agency of this request is needed. So possibly pickleball, I know they have a couple of courts already that they set up here for pickleball. So, let the agency study it, then we'll leave it in, okay? Number 13, we asked for, better lighting or lighting along the new crossing that we have on Marshall between Van Cortlandt and Bainbridge Avenue. All right, so their answer for that was, Parks will discuss this request with the Department of Transportation, which is responsible for lighting in the parks as well as on the streets. All right, so we'll leave that one, okay?
That was the one that was just built, right? That
Yes,
crossing,
yes,
but
that
they
we
didn't
did.
put lighting. So do you think they're gonna come back and put lighting even though they just built it without it? If they just built it and they didn't put lighting, why are they gonna come back recently to put lighting if it wasn't originally included? Like, where are they gonna get that extra money
Well,
from?
they would have to get it through one of the council people.
All right.
Okay. 14, they asked for, we asked for portable lighting for night games here at the Oval, and the answer was they don't have the money, go see your council person. All right, the usual. All right, 15.
I'm sorry, that would be Dinowitz over here, Oval? The council member, not
Yes.
Sanchez, okay.
Right. All right, 15. We asked for security cameras for St. James, DeVoe, Aqueduct Walk, the Oval, and Marshall Playground, I believe. And we got, they support, the Parks Department supports improved lighting, but they do not maintain or operate any type of, we wanted cameras, right? They do not install any of these cameras. It would have to be the police department that would do that.
So I guess it's an issue for
Yeah,
us.
and I can remember, asking previous council people here about putting the cameras at this park and all, and the councilman himself said, and not the current one, that he felt it was an interference for people to have a camera when you're going in and out of the park, and it was a question of privacy and a lack of. So he would not support that.
Was that before the robbery pattern out of Oval?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a while
Yeah.
ago, so things have changed too, and maybe, Eric Dinowitz would support it, okay?
So that's the.
All right, so
That was
we'll,
Andrew Cummings.
Cops rolled around twice already. We need camera. And there's no expectation of privacy in public, so you can film everybody all the way to their house
maybe
until they get into
move
privacy.
to, yes.
It's a rough call.
Okay, so 15.
Not for journalists.
Hey.
Public safety. Okay, 16, we asked for, the rehab of Marshall Parkway, stone pillars, whatever, and, we received an answer, a further study by the agency of this request is needed. We've been asking this for years, as you know, Elizabeth, to get things taken care of, and it doesn't happen. All right, 17, a plus. Kids Rec Center. This project is funded and is in the design phase. So that's one of all we put in.
Is St. James Rec Center ever open up?
I believe so,
Yes, they have
yeah.
an opening over the summer. So now they're looking for new equipment, which is great, that's a plus. All right, number 18, install an elevator here at the Oval, I believe to make it ADA compliant for people who come for courses here, because it's just that huge stairway. And the answer I'm getting is not one that corresponds to that.
Is that because the oval's landmarked?
Excuse
Is that because this is a landmark? You can't just put an elevator on it? You would have to go through like permits and stuff?
No, it's a landmark.
I believe it's on the
No,
register.
No, they need money
Yeah.
to do that, that's the problem, okay? And I don't know the answer to that. Parks, conducting a study to determine
So
drainage circulation, portion of this work. Maybe that's, so again, I think the only way we get an elevator in here is to go to the council person and say we desperately need it, and every year they have a certain amount of funds, and
I guess it's gonna be through participatory budgeting. That might be a really good.
I think we do that in our district.
Yeah, no, you do. You guys hosted it. Miss Carla did it at the 203rd Street place. The participatory budgeting, yeah.
I think Eric Dinowitz did that.
Far back, but
Yeah,
not.
Didn't he
a while ago,
sorry.
not later.
The elevator at the Fort Train, isn't he give us that through participatory budgeting? But we never got that either.
That's on the
Yeah,
list
okay.
to be done,
Okay.
though, but that is
Yeah.
number 4 trains.
Okay.
So I guess we need to look into whether that's participatory.
I don't think Dinowitz does that anymore. Okay, 19, repair and improve the fencing around the neighborhood. The next one, 20, repair the broken sidewalk at Hope Place entrance to the Oval. 21, these are all Oval problems. Create outdoor fitness stations on the upper perimeter of the Oval. All right, install railings along the wooded area of University Woods. Number 22, and again, insufficient funds, talk with your city council person. Okay, and as far as the ones at the Oval that I just mentioned, they are doing studies, so I'm hoping that, we get something from it. Existing funding will cover a portion of the work, so that doesn't tell me too much, but at least they're looking at it. All right. 23 is renovate Marshall Playground, and funds are insufficient, see your city council person. All right, so again,
That's PS8, right? Marshall Playground?
I'm not sure if Elizabeth left, is that the one at PS8 or is it the one at the other end?
I think it is PSA, but I'm sure.
Isn't
Yeah.
People's
it's
Park?
the one up
Yeah.
PSA.
Or Kasuth Playground, the one by 80.
With 2 Marshall Playground, which one is that? That
PS8.
PS8 or the one on the
PS8.
north side? PS8, okay.
People's is the loan.
All right, and again, insufficient funds, see your council person, which
That was
is
his
a
answer?
sad state of affairs. I mean, of all our requests, we have one, we know. That's it. I mean, we put in,
And that's been in the works.
Yeah,
So
right.
because we can't count that as a win, we go to St. James
okay,
and bid.
yeah, right, they got the money for that. All right, the expense budget, which pertains to, staffing for the parks and equipment, all right? Number 12 was improve trash removal and more personnel for purchase of new equipment, mechanical brooms, grass cutters, pickup truck. All right? Again, I think we had a more positive reply there. That they will do what they can, is what we heard on that one. All right? And then we also also asked number 15 for additional PEP offices. In addition to that, I think we need to also ask that they have a station in the West Bronx, not just over Pelham Parkway, where they're coming from. By the time you call them and they get over here, it's a little late. So I believe Board 8 requested that they have a station here, and of course, that would mean additional PEP offices. So that one we'll definitely leave in, okay? And we also asked for a gardener and maintenance person, additional maintenance personnel for Marshall, St. James, and DeVoe.
So the goal, it seems like it's once. What I can tell you is the side with the park house seems to get a little bit more love than the other side. And I don't know if it's because they only doing like one side and then the next time they do another. But yeah, you need a dedicated person there.
Definitely.
Does any of the parks have a designated, only Oval and some of Marshall, I believe? Do any of the other ones have a gardener or horticulturist?
I think they have a gardener.
Just here?
I'm sure of that.
Okay.
Then they have a roving gardener
Oh,
who
okay.
does the rest
All
of the
over, okay.
parks. Let's see, the last one, the last two. Last year, we had asked for a playground associate for DeVoe, and I understand you didn't get somebody.
We got
That's what they
some
said.
when we did the, Playmobil, and for instance, the Gold Park did their, art, there was an associate. He and I were supposed to talk about doing something specifically for people with disabilities. We were focusing on, divergent, children and teens, but he never called me back and I never seen him again. So I don't know if that meant that they moved him or what.
Because that was
I
our,
was happy at first.
yes, our request last year, all right, for playground associate for DeVoe, and their answer was the agency will accommodate this issue with existing resources. So I assume you had somebody.
We did, but I never saw him again. And I tried to contact him so that we can make plans. We wanted to do like a mock Special Olympics, but he never called me back. And so, and I never saw him. Although I went over, knocked and asked, and I still have his name.
So you don't think he's there now? Or
I'm
well, we're
pretty
probably
sure.
only the summer months.
It could have been just the summer months, even though I checked throughout the summer.
Okay, and last but not least, under the expense budget, we requested that they plant new street trees, all right? Remove dead trees and plant new trees in the empty pits throughout the community. Their answer was the agency recommends funding this expense budget request in fiscal year 2024, but at this time, the availability of funds is uncertain. So we have to, let's leave that in, leave it in, and is there anything new? Now, we don't have a quorum tonight, so we can't vote on it, but if you give it to me when we go to the exec committee, I will bring it up and they can vote on it. Anything new that you would like to add to this? I mean, we have such a list, and one item that we actually got done.
I submitted requests last budget cycle. I was told it would be held on into this cycle to review. Ms. Carla had printed it out before you voted on it, so it's with the office. I'll resend it over, but I had a whole list for all the committees. I'm just gonna resubmit. As I was told, you weren't gonna look at it till this year's, so I would like to reference those.
Saw that.
Yes, ma'am. Did.
Okay, anything else that anybody would like to raise about conditions? I certainly will follow up with Joe McNeary. Anything anybody would like to raise with him?
Just two other things I thought of, Barbara, and they're to Toby's point on the disposal of the e-bikes. The sanitation department are holding, their regular annual event where you can dispose of
Right,
bikes,
disposing of
Yeah.
chemicals and
E-waste,
everything.
e-waste.
I've circulated that around. And the other point was, it's out of my head now, sorry.
That's at Orchard Beach, I want to say, for the Bronx.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says
It's the
that.
end of the
Yeah.
month.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
and some residents were just complaining about dogs being walked unleashed in the park.
In the park.
Yeah, so we're like following up on that as well.
Without leashes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a big concern.
You know, definitely. All right.
Yeah.
Any other complaints, items, whatever? Okay, so,
Barbara, do you have any update on when they're going to finish taking the dead trees out of the parkway?
taking the dead trees.
Yeah, I understand there might be one or two on both the northern and southern side that are still down.
Good question, that was what, they said, they're hoping to do that,
Yeah.
but I understand also, very quietly over the summer, I happened to read that the mayor cut forestry.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, just a small piece in the paper and whatever, so I don't know what to tell you.
I just want to bring up really quick, over the summer there was a lot of flooding on the parkway. I've advocated for years now about the river coming back. It comes back with the smallest of rains. I know they're going to probably say no funding, but there has to be some kind of emergency, not like FEMA, but there has to be some kind of green infrastructure grants or something for that. Because every other rainstorm, everybody's cars stranded, everybody's like, you can't even cross the parkway. I love it because I miss the river, but yeah, I think we need to start being more proactive on that. Otherwise, we're all going to be underwater soon. Get swimming.
Okay, any other items anybody would like to raise? I thank you all for coming out, and I will follow up on the items that were brought up. And I guess we're going to be keeping on to these items in the budget, since we haven't seen them. And please, if there's something you want to see done, go with the council. It's the only way that they get the funding in parks now, to do capital outlay.
I wonder if that's why a certain official is cutting the budget, because we are going to our councilmen who are doing participatory budgeting. Like for the park across the street where Walton campus starts, ends, and leaving begins, that part is under renovation, but it's got that way through the process of the participatory budget. So it's something that we have to start looking at, because that's why.
Yeah, no, I know Eric Dinowitz doesn't do that at all, so, for this area.
That's still Padina, though, that's still
Yes.
Padina.
That's south.
Yeah.
And sorry, Mr. Feliz is also one of our city council, Oswald Feliz. Anything for him? Did they tell you to contact him at all, or because Pope Park got all that money?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure he's put a lot
But that was
into
funded.
it.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, he has.
So nothing over there needs help or anything.
Contract.
Okay, perfect.
All right, I thank everybody for coming out. Our next meeting will be the second Wednesday. Oh, excuse me, before you go, we have a guest here from Columbia.
Oh, hi, sorry.
You're with the newspaper in Columbia?
I'm with the Bronx Bulletin, which is a project with Columbia's journalism school. We're just covering SB neighborhoods, and this is one of my community boards. And thank you.
Welcome
for having
in.
me here.
Welcome on down.
Yes,
Oh, welcome, and we hope to see you again.
yes,
Okay,
definitely.
all right. Elizabeth, did you have any concerns about it?
Oh, I have a list of them, but this meeting
Oh, we probably-
this meeting just, it was depressing already. I just do want to say that we're mid-September. We do have our annual fall festival, the Marshall Fall Festival. And this year, our summer youth actually chose the playground. We worked with like 29 summer youth this year, and we visited 6 of the playgrounds. And out of the playgrounds, they chose Knox Gates Playground, because they thought it was in real need of attention. It's on Marshalloo, it's pathetic, it's
west of
disgusting,
Jerome, right?
it's past the fortune, yeah. The quality of life there is
They've had problems.
it's very challenging. Yeah, so we're having it there. The rain date is October 19th, and it's from 11 to 3. Normally we do 3 hours, but this year they wanted to make sure that we were out there, 4 hours interacting with the community that's there.
What's your regular date?
So it's October 5th.
Yep.
Yeah, October 5th, Saturday, rain date, October 19th. Yeah,
Is that a permitted event or?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, must be.
So Barbara, what's going on with, it's in conjunction with Bronx High School of Science,
Astronomers?
yes.
Astronomer.
And do we have any update on that?
The last I heard, they were having difficulty getting together with partners, one of which is the Parks Department. And I don't know whether they are pulling back from that site, I will check on it though, but
Thank you.
I'm happy to hear that. Because I thought that they were working on that and it would open soon and
Especially with the start of the new school year, that's a great resource for the neighborhood to have. I want to say they might have did something recently at Woodlawn Cemetery, so maybe they might have moved it up to there. But yeah, definitely follow up on that because we have not just Bronx Science that's right next to it. All these kids could look up at the stars and learn something.
Anthony.
I was gonna follow up on what he said, this goes for everyone, but particularly yourself. This Friday, I believe it's from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And if you go to their website, you'll learn more about it. The organization you're referring to is actually having an astrology night at Woodlands.
Okay.
I believe they're doing it both for an event as well as to generate membership, but I did hear some underground discussion about maybe using Woodlawn Cemetery as a semi-permanent site. Like you can get, if you want to.
Instead
Yeah,
of,
the site
instead of the
by,
Yeah.
School Avenue.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how the original agreement is working out. I've been hearing some things about that too.
Because Woodlawn Cemetery is inundated with
Coyotes.
RVs, the car wash.
Yeah, I agree on that, and it's a shame, because they had a nice site there,
Yeah.
near the schools, near the college,
Right.
high school of science.
That was cool.
Look into that, to see what caused this,
To stop.
to stop it, if they're changing the site. You know, because they were talking about already a park out in Nassau County,
Yeah.
not good.
If I may, because they originally cited how the reservoir has no lights so they can see up to the sky. So maybe Woodlawn's the only other place where you can actually see up because there is not that much buildings by it.
Well,
Yeah.
And that's the case, wrong community, I mean.
The hill, the big hill.
okay, I thank everybody